today, supplies we will need 5mm hook, and we are going to make a washcloth. And really quick, this is the Peaches and Cream Stripey. It's a 4-weight yarn. This is the color Denim. Suggest a 5mm hook, tapestry needle, scissors. So these are the supplies you'll need to make your washcloth. This is in a different color in the stripey. So this is what our washcloth looks like, and it's folded in half, and can see why it's called stripey. It's very stripey, and the stripes come out almost perfect on some of these. Like right here, it ends kind of perfectly. And we're just going to use a single crochet stitch. There's no border to this or anything. I'll show you how to fasten off and weave in your ends. So by the end of this video, you can have a nice all-purpose cloth for your bathroom, kitchen, whatever. Now, because this is 100% cotton, it's going to shrink a little bit. Cotton can shrink anywhere from 5 to 20% in the wash, depending on how you wash it, but it can shrink quite a bit. So 2 ways you can work with this yarn: pull from the center or pull from the outside. I typically like to pull from the center, so I'm going to go ahead and do that. I'm going to take this off so it's a little bit easier for me. If we open this up, we can see that there is a pattern on here. Extras crochet. 1 ball makes 2 dishcloths. What we're gonna do is we're just gonna make 1 dishcloth. But if you wanted a free pattern, a lot of skeins of yarn, a lot of them will have patterns like this, so it's nice to just save it for later. So I'm gonna dig in. There's really no right way to do this. So this is the outside of my yarn. I could just start with that, but typically I do not. Okay, and there we go. Okay. I have my cut end, or the end of my yarn, pointing down. Here's my cut end. So again, my cut end is facing down. Go ahead and grab our yarn, and we're gonna bring it down and back up over our finger. So we just looped our yarn around our fingers. Flip my fingers over now, and it's still just looped around. I'm going to take this one that I'm holding on to and just bring it over to the left side. Probably the trickiest part. So pull up your ring finger and hold that with your middle finger. We're going to take our hook. I'm going to go under both of my yarn. Then I'm going to bring my hook over until it goes past that yarn. Bring it back over, put your hook down on it, and pull through. Everything back over so we see our finger pads. Let go with your finger and pull. Now that we have that, we can tighten it by simply grabbing these and pulling. That's how you make a slip knot, and that is the beginning of everything. Now let's talk about how tight should my slip knot be on my hook. It needs to be loose enough where it slides easily up and down on the hook, but it's also closed all the way. It is definitely that Goldilocks, getting it just right. Let's begin. We're going to do our first chain. Now everything is nice and tense, but not too tight. Take our hook and we're going to get that yarn on there. We're going to turn our hook down so we really have it on there, and we're going to pull through. That is our first chain. Do that again. Yarn on, turn it down, and pull through. Yarn on the hook, turn it down, and pull through. I'm still holding on here. And now that I've made 3 chains, I'm going to scooch my fingers up so that I have everything really tight and good, but not too tight, obviously. Get the yarn on there, turn the hook down, and pull through. Now, if you look, it kind of looks like a braid on this side. A lot of the time I will refer to these stitches as braids, but they're chains. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. That's a chain of 10. Hey guys, me here. Okay, so I just want to let you know in the first part of this video, I'm gonna just show you how to do the crocheting in that chain 10. In the next part of the video, we're actually gonna make the washcloth. If you just want to go ahead and start making the washcloth, you can skip forward to that part. But I'm just doing it in a chain of 10 to show you how to do it, and then we're gonna jump into actually making the washcloth. We can verify that by counting them. So each one of these braids is counted as 1 stitch. The one that's on your hook, this loop, is called your working loop, but you don't have to worry about that. All you need to worry about is that you don't count that when you're counting your stitches. I'm going to count this one: 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and 10. So now what we're going to do is work back and do our first row of single crochet. In a lot of patterns, they will tell you to begin your single crochets in the second chain from the hook. Well, here's our hook, and here's 1 chain from our hook, and then this must be 2 chains from our hook. So when they're saying to start in our second chain from our hook, they're saying don't put your first stitch in this one, put it in this one. This is your loop that you need to go into. You don't want to go into both of these. You don't want to go into these. You just want to go into the one. Pull our hook down so we can reach into this, because if I try to now go like that and my loop is down here, it's just not going to reach. So I'm going to have to let my loop go all the way basically to the top of the hook, and I can hold it with my finger to make sure it doesn't fall off. And now I'm going to go into this chain, and you'll have 2 loops on your hook. Grab that loop and pull through. Now we're going to go into the next chain, and we're going to go into that top loop only. So not in that one, in this one. And pull it up, and then pull through 2. Let's keep it going into the next chain in the top loop only. Grab your yarn. You'll have 2 loops, and now grab your yarn again and pull through 2. And that is how we do it. Again, into our next chain. Then you're going to grab your yarn again. You'll have 2 loops. Grab your yarn and pull through both of those loops. Then you're just going to repeat this process going into the next chain, grabbing the yarn, and then having 2 loops on your hook, then grabbing your yarn again and pulling through those 2 loops. You're going to repeat that process down the chain. So we are doing our second to last stitch here, and now we're about to go into our last stitch. The last stitch can sometimes be a little tricky to see, but it is there. Make sure you get it, or you'll have this kind of weird thing poking out of the side of your work. So we got that last stitch, and now we're going to learn how to turn our work. So if we put this down, we can see that we have this row of single crochets. And all I'm going to do is just flip this horizontally like a page in a book. And now we see the back side. So let's do that again. We're going to flip it over like a page in a book. Just flipping it over horizontally. Now we are on the back of our work and our hook is on the right side of our work. So now what we can do is start another row. We'll do the same exact thing we were doing, only a little bit differently because now we're crocheting into single crochets. So what you'll do is go into your stitch, but you're not going to go just into the one loop, you're going to go into both. So you're going to go into both of those loops. Go ahead and grab your yarn and pull up a loop. You'll have 2 loops on your hook. You can grab your yarn again and pull through 2 loops. We're going to do that again, going under both loops of the braid. And we're going to grab our yarn, pull through, and then grab our yarn again and pull through 2 loops. And that is how you single crochet on top of another single crochet. So the only difference is that you're doing both loops now instead of just the top loop, which is what we did when we were single crocheting across the chain. I'm just showing you here how to get into that stitch smoothly. But if you have this down at this point, you are ready to do the washcloth. So let's go ahead and jump to that pattern and how that all works. Yes, so we're going to have to chain 33. So let's go ahead and do that. Yarn over, pull through. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24, 25, 26, 27, 28, 29, 30, 31, 32, 33. So I'm pretty sure I did 33. For this washcloth, it doesn't much matter. You could chain 30, 35. It really does not matter if you're off by 1. The second chain for my hook, I'm going to go ahead and start single crocheting. And we're going to pull this like this, get into that first stitch, and pull through. I did my first single crochet. I'm going to do this 32 times. It's going to be 32 stitches on this. So we have our first one, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. This is how it's looking on my first row, keeping it pretty loose. 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24, 25, 26, 27, 28, 29, 30. Real quick, just want to reiterate, if you're confused about do I go in here or do I go in here, you can always look for like which one is still has the complete braid. So if you look here, this one is open and this one has a complete braid, 31, 32. So this is the first row. Very good. Now we're going to go ahead and turn our work. So we'll just go ahead and flip it that way. Flip the page. And we're going to slide this down so we can reach into our first stitch here. And I'm going to need to pull more yarn out. So the rest of this pattern is exactly what you've already done. At this point, all you are going to do is single crochet, and make sure now that you're on the second row, you're going under both loops of the braid, yarn over, pull through, keeping things loose but not too loose. Just single crochet all the way down the line till you get to your last stitch. You'll turn your work and single crochet, turn, single crochet, turn. So at this point, all we're going to do is continue. This is a really nice way to spend time, relax, doing this on the beach is a vibe. And before you know it, your fidget toy, this is kind of like a fidget toy to a lot of people, will have produced a washcloth, which you can then use, which is really a good feeling. I'm going a little bit fast just to show you the end of this row. But the trick to crochet, especially when you're starting out, is what they tell you in the military, and that is slow is smooth, smooth is fast. You're going slow, you're going smooth, and that's going to go fast because you're going to have less hiccups. Try to go fast off the bat. You'll probably make mistakes, have to go back and fix it. That's going to take longer. So slow is smooth, smooth is fast, and smooth feels nice on your hands. So let me just show you that last stitch once again. That's the last braid. Go into that stitch, pull the loop, yarn over, pull through. Turn our work. That's how our second row looks. And we'll continue on into the first stitch. Insert, yarn over, pull through, yarn over, pull through. Insert, yarn over, pull through, yarn over, pull through. And already we can see how this is looking similar to the one that we have finished. So all we need to do is go until our skein runs out. And once that's done, we will tie off our yarn and weave in our ends, and I'll show you exactly how to do that. So here I'm going into the last stitch of my washcloth, and I'm just going to do everything the same as of right now. Just finishing up this last stitch here. My yarn was kind of splitting. There we go. Okay, now it's done, and now we need to fasten off. So the way we do that is we're just going to chain one. That means we're just going to put the yarn on our hook and pull through one loop. So let's see that again. Just pulling the yarn through one loop. That's just a chain of one, and I'm going to pull it tight, and that is fastening off. That's all it is. It's just chaining one and pulling it tight, and it makes a knot that secures your work. So our washcloth is done right now, and all we need to do is weave in the ends. So I have two ends to weave in, one on the end that I started, and one where we just fastened off. And do that. I have a tapestry needle here, and what I'm going to do is just pick one of my ends. It does not matter which one. And I am going to thread my tapestry needle. And what we are going to do is, first of all, zoom on in. And I'm going to take my yarn and I'm going to weave it in to a point where I can then weave it back and forth, split my yarn, and then tie it off once again. That's going to make it extra secure. It's not going to go nowhere. So first thing I'm going to do is just take my needle and make my way to about here. I don't want to go to the blue because then you'll see the yarn. If I just weave it into the same color, we'll be all good there. So I'm going to just pick an area and just go for it. Okay, I'm going to go down. Let's go down these stitches and down this one even. And I think that'll be a good spot. Okay, so I'm in the proper area to now weave in my end. I could weave it in right up here, but that's increasing the chance that it's going to pop out. So if this wasn't such a harsh color change, like if this was all the same color, I'd probably even weave this down to here. And you really only need to weave it in about an inch from your border. It's not that serious. So now I'm going to take my needle, I'm just going to weave it through these loops. We're going to go back and forth 3 times. So this is going to count as my first time. Just taking my time. Okay, so I've gone through about 8 loops there. It's good enough. Pull it through. And I've split my yarn there. That's not a big deal. I'm going to then go back through those same ones. It looks like I've gone through an extra loop there. It doesn't much matter. Just kind of trying to go back and forth over in the same area. Now I have one more time left. And I'm just going to skip over this loop and because I don't want to put it back in the same exact spot because then it'll just come out. So I do want to loop over at least one yarn before I come back. So I'm choosing this one to loop over. And going through back way. That's enough. 3 times is enough, really. I promise you it's enough. It's enough, okay? That looks good. Now, this is an extra step I like to take. It's not really necessary. This is probably already secure. But I like to make it extra secure by just kind of twisting this. And if you can see here, there's actually 4 strings weaved into this single thing of yarn. So I'm going to split that 2 and 2. I'm going to take my needle and I'm just going to put it through, let's pick this one. I'll take, since my my yarn is so short, I'm just doing it this way. And now I'm going to push this through. Then I can tie these 2 into a knot, and that's going to give a little extra security. And this step is optional. And with that, we can cut off our extra tails. Perfect. So that is our first end weaved in. Looks good. So now I'm going to go ahead and do the same thing to my other end. This one I have even less room because it goes to blue. I'm still going to weave it in on the blue though. I don't think you're going to be able to see it that badly. I just really don't want to weave it in on the outer edges of my work. So I pulled it down more into the middle of my work. Picking a spot is hard sometimes. Picked my spot. Now it's just a matter of going back and forth 3 times. I am jumping over this loop. See, so now you can kind of see it there because the color is different. In real life, you can't really see it that well. This is very zoomed in. Obviously, if I zoom out, you're not gonna be able to see it. So, all good. Now we're gonna go back one more time. And then we can do the same thing as last time, or I can just call it a day and cut the yarn right there, and that will work out just fine. So that's it. We have officially finished our washcloth, our single crochet washcloth. Lovely. I love this yarn, the peaches and cream stripey. Got it at Walmart. Wonderful yarn. I'll link the pattern in the description so you guys can have the written pattern as well. And that's it for this video. I hope you guys enjoyed. Leave any questions down in the comments, and you guys can follow me on Threads. That is where I post all my free patterns if you are interested. Thank you so much for watching. Please make sure to like, subscribe, hit the bell, and I'll see you guys on the next one.